welcome to Loch Assynt and Ardvreck Castle. There's the castle, obviously, and someone obviously camping just in front. Sorry, midges again. Someone camping just in front of the tent, and it is absolutely still as can be. Hopefully you can see the loch is like a mirror. It's amazing. So first thing in the morning, it's about 8 o'clock, so not technically not the first thing, but I set off first thing. It rained really heavily last night, so much so that when I took the dog out for his last wee, he kind of ran out, did it and legged it back in, and normally he's off kind of messing about. It absolutely hammered down. But what happens when you have lots of rain overnight and quite warm temperatures? It's already, oh, massive dragonfly. Wow. It's already quite clammy, so you get the heavy rain and you get mist. So I've driven through quite a lot of mist, and there's low cloud and a combination of mist. So occasionally, I just as I was setting up, it's gone now, the sun came out for kind of a couple of seconds, but I think what I'm going to be focusing on is clearly reflections and moodiness, because it's the perfect morning for that. And it lends itself well to kind of photographing a castle. So at the moment, I'm just concentrating, looking across the bay here, just concentrating on that kind of outcrop. There's a tree on the end of the outcrop, and obviously the castle. So I'll endeavour. I'm going to take a couple kind of zoomed out to try and get this kind of reflection. And I've got the reflection about halfway through the frame ish. Now clearly the sky is hugely blown out because the sky is just kind of grey cloud at the moment, so not really that interested in the cloud. Just try and get an exposure that kind of mirrors that. But what I'm actually going to do is zoom in a bit and try and get an image. Just bear with me a second, it's a bit faffy. Try and get an image of the castle. See if that zoom out a bit. The castle and the tree about on my rule of thirds. So I've now got the tree on that rule of thirds and the castle on that rule of thirds. Just tighten my, I have to refocus. So focus on the castle. So I switched to automatic focus then, switch back to manual. I'm taking my reading off the castle. I can take that image, and what I'm almost certainly going to do with that is crop out all of the sky, most of the foreground, and just get a kind of letterbox. I quite like those kind of 3x1, but I think that'd be quite nice, just the castle and the tree, and imagine it. Well, you wouldn't have to imagine it because I'll put it in here, but just that kind of a letterbox view, kind of like, you know, you see those kind of panoramic postcards when you go on holiday. Oh, was a fish just jumped there. Get that view, but I'm going to stay here for a little bit and hope. See, there's a little bit of breakage in the cloud every now and then, so hopefully what I'll get is the odd beam of sun. I'm not that fussed, not like my previous video where I was just kind of waiting for some sunshine. Not really that fussed whether they get the sunshine or not, because it lends to that moodiness. So, oh, and I'll probably, maybe, clone out, the tent. I don't know, I'll see what the image looks like. You'll know in a second when I post it, or I might have already posted it. There's a dog barking at me. I've come away from the castle a little bit. So when I talked to you previously, I was just down in the bay, down there. Got my feet very wet, crossing that stream, river. But the reason I've come up, so the main road runs kind of through here, and I've just come up, there's a little bit of a rocky outcrop, and I've come up to try and capture this building and the castle in a kind of panorama. Now the challenge I have at the moment, there's a couple of cars parked down there which are causing a problem, but the person with the dog, they're packing up, so I'm waiting for them to kind of pack up, and then there'll only be one car, hopefully. But it's just started to rain a little bit, so I'm gonna kind of hang on and hope for the cloud lifting. But it's lovely scene. the nice thing about this composition is you've got the road kind of bending round, you've got the bay bending round, so they kind of mirror each other. So hopefully when they've packed away their tents and gone, oh no, he's taking the dog for a walk. So I'm going to have to try and manage. I'll show you the kind of panorama I'm aiming for. I'll have to brighten this considerably so you can see what I'm up to, but kind of here you've got obviously the road bending around behind this building, and then I'm just going to pan like this, so you then get the curve of the bay and then end up about there, so you just get the end of the outcrop where that tree was I mentioned earlier. So I think it'd be quite a nice panorama. At the moment I'm just getting the top of their tent, so I might be able to, I'd like to kind of pull back a little bit, so kind of that's zoomed in fully. I'd like to pull back a little bit to just get more of the bay, but those tents I could probably maybe clone them out or maybe leave them in. So I'm going to take a panorama like that and then hope for a little bit of brightness, although like I said earlier, I don't mind because it's a kind of gloomy kind of day, but it seems to suit the kind of the castle, it being gloomy, but we'll see. Could turn into a black and white. Well, that was unexpected. So just finished talking to you about doing that panorama, took a couple of shots, not sure how they'll be because it had gone a bit dull, and then it started just out of nowhere, the heavens opened, it started to pour down. So that's the current situation, and it's one of those, it's still a warm day, so I was a bit farther away from the car than I thought, so kind of walked back to the car, got soaked, my shorts are soaked, tried my best to protect my camera gear. In fact, I just spent about 5 minutes drying it all down in the car, but it's still a warm day, so I'm in the car and it feels really claggy. So what I'm hoping is that it clears across, so I'm going to move the car down to the main car park and then wait a while, see what happens. If it doesn't show signs of clearing, I'll head my way back home and see if I spot anything on the way home or on my way to Tesco, because I've got to buy stuff on my way to Tesco before I then go home. So yeah, the weather's closed in. I'm about halfway now between the castle and home, and I said I'd stop if something caught my fancy, and I thought I'd share this with you. Amazing. So I'm at the head of the valley where Stack Polly is, and there's obviously a display board there that kind of points out what it's like, but there's absolutely nothing to be seen. And I'll just show you out the windscreen. It is absolutely pouring down. Kind of that feels like I'm in the middle of a cloud, and it doesn't look like getting any better. So that might be the shortest video I've ever done, because I'm not sure how much I actually recorded at the castle, but not much, I don't think. But I'm going to head on. Got to go to Tesco, and then I'll get back home and see what the rest of the day plans. But ugh, not good so far. Didn't really think I'd leave it like that, did you? Come on, you know me well enough. Look at that. Look at that. Just what a difference. What a difference. 12 hours. So it's almost exactly 12 hours since I last spoke to you, and I was about a mile away from this spot. So I've had a whole day, done loads of stuff, been quite far down south, dog on the beach, all that sort of stuff, in the pouring rain, bit of sunshine, but there's a little bit of a gap in the cloud, and I thought, let's go for it, let's go for it. So I've come here to this bay. I've passed it a couple of times. There's some lovely houses here. They get an amazing view, absolutely amazing view they get out to sea over the summer hours. But look at that, look at the clouds, look at the lights, the sun's come out a couple of times. I'm got a composition with the bay sweeping around. I'll show you the composition. So the sea sweeping around, the bay sweeping around, the houses there, mountain in the distance. just fabulous. I'm underexposing a bit because of that fab light coming over there. Look at that. F11, beautiful, beautiful bit of surf, and hopefully a bit of sun coming out every now and then. So I've already taken a couple because I kind of legged it down. So I took a couple images when the sun was shining onto the bay and onto the houses, and it was just fantastic. So I'm going to do I think I'll aim for a bit of a panorama shot now. In fact, I'll talk you through it while I do it. So got my shot there that I've just taken, so I'm going to take another one just in case. And then I'm just going to spin a little bit, not a massive amount, just to get a bit of light in. Again, underexposing just because of the light. Look at that, look at the light shine on the cliffs over there. Hope the GoPro does that justice. Just absolutely stonking light. And it's about 9 o'clock at night. Let's just double check. Yeah, it's just 3 minutes past 9. So the sun's down in about 19 minutes. About 19 minutes. The sun's down in 19 minutes. I pretend as if I don't know. So I'm going to work on some compositions. But this bay is just fabulous. And to turn my camera off. Yeah, just check that off because I want to show you something, which I'm going to try from up here. Lovely rocks there as well. Give you a bit of elevation if you needed it. But look at this seaweed as well. Look at this. This is obviously the high tide or one of the tide marks. That seaweed's a perfect leading line. So I'm going to come up here as well and take an image from up here. So with that. But look at the light out there now. Look at the light out there. Those beams shining. Just beautiful. Absolutely stunning. This, I've been to this part of Scotland before, but kind of only passing through. I never really did it justice. But it's just stunning. The coast is stunning. The mountains are stunning. The lochs are stunning. So definitely be back. And in fact, if my lottery numbers come off, but I'm going to come up here. Ooh, it's a pebbly beach, as you can tell. So I'm just going to come up and get this leading line. So I might have to put you down for a second while I sort out an image. So I'll speak to you in a second. Well, I set up my shot, mentioned this seaweed. So using that as a leading line. There's another line, well, there's another couple of lines. So it's really nice, leads round to the houses, and obviously the bay then leads round to the cliff. But I just want to show you something. I'll use the GoPro. So you see that image there with the leading lines. I originally, imagine my tripod, no, forget my tripod's here. Forget my tripod and camera there. I originally set up about here. You notice anything? There's that big clump of seaweed there. And as soon as I set up and looked, I thought the leading line gets broken up by that seaweed. So I've just moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps further forward. So I'm almost stood on top of that seaweed, but it's just breaking up the leading line. So if I'd taken that image, I would have started with the leading line of the seaweed, but immediately jumped to that clump of seaweed, so it was no good. So just when you do, oh, it's starting to rain. Just when you're looking at things like that, just make sure if you're working on leading lines, try and get them as clean as you possibly can. Now, obviously, kind of you're in nature, so they're a bit wiggly and they're not perfectly straight or anything. But you can easily make a mistake. Take that image and then you get home and look at it and think, oh, why did I do that? And you could clone it out, but just for the sake of taking a few steps forward, you could have sorted out the problem in the first place. So it is raining, but the sun is peeping through a little bit. So what I'm hoping for, I'm already happy because I took a couple of images down there when the sun was shining on the houses. So a double bonus if it comes out and pokes through. I can capture the bay and the mountains beyond. So quite happy, quite a contrast from this morning. I'm in danger of getting wet feet, maybe I shouldn't have filmed it. So the sun is down, came out a little bit, shone on the houses and the bay, so quite happy, great light. So what I'm doing now, because it's gone dark, is I'm trying to do a long exposure, just including this rock here in the foreground with the waves breaking over it. The tide is on its way in, so I've gone to f22 to give myself longest shutter speed possible, and that's given me a 15-second exposure. So I'm going to take that image, and I've I've got my camera on the 2-second delay, so press the shutter and then after 2 seconds it takes the image on the basis that my shutter release cable's in the car and I really couldn't be bothered going back. So it's just as easy to do that. Press it, take your hands off. So I'm going to do that, and I'll just spin the camera around a little bit so I get them mounted in the background, and that might turn into a nice panorama. So again, 15-second exposure, and that'll be that. So hope you can hear me over the waves. Hope you enjoyed that. Kind of what started off as a bit of a kind of wet, miserable day. If it seems a long time ago now, but that piece I recorded in the car looked like that was it for the day. I've been out, been down the beach, done stuff with the family, tried to teach the dog to swim, and just popped out for this. So can't complain at all. Now I'm going to take all my clothes off and go skinny dipping, but I won't record that.